Missouri is often described as a crossroads, and that idea is more than a convenient nickname. It sits in the Midwestern United States, but its culture, history, and landscape also pull strongly toward the South and the West. It is landlocked, bordered by 8 states: Iowa, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. That many borders give Missouri a unique position on the map. It has been a meeting place for rivers, roads, rail lines, migrants, businesses, and political conflicts. With more than 6 million residents, it is one of the more populous states in the country, though much of it remains rural. Its biggest urban areas, St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, and Columbia, each tell a different part of the state's story. The geography of Missouri helps explain why the state became so important. The Missouri River cuts across the state from west to east before meeting the Mississippi River near St. Louis. These waterways made the region a natural transportation corridor long before highways and railroads existed. Northern Missouri contains productive agricultural plains, while southern Missouri is shaped by the Ozarks, a region of hills, forests, caves, springs, and lakes. This variety created different economies and lifestyles within one state. Farm communities, river towns, mining areas, college cities, and tourist destinations all developed side by side. Missouri's location also made it a bridge between regions, not fully northern, not fully southern, not fully western, but connected to all three. Human history in present-day Missouri goes back at least 12,000 years. Long before European arrival, indigenous peoples lived, hunted, traded, farmed, and built communities across the region. One of the most significant early civilizations connected to the area was the Mississippian culture, which emerged around the 9th century. These communities built large ceremonial and pyramidal mounds, showing complex social organization, religious life, and engineering skill. The best-known Mississippian center, Cahokia, stood just across the Mississippi River from modern St. Louis, and its influence reached into Missouri. By the time Europeans arrived in the 17th century, the Osage and Missouri nations were among the indigenous peoples living in and shaping the region. European involvement in Missouri began mainly through French exploration and trade. The French incorporated the territory into the broader colony of Louisiana, where rivers were the main highways and the fur trade was a major economic force. St. Genevieve, founded in 1735, became one of the earliest European settlements west of the Mississippi River. St. Louis followed in 1764, strategically placed near the meeting of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. Although Spain briefly controlled the territory, French language, Catholic traditions, and river-based commerce left a lasting mark. These early settlements were not isolated outposts, they were part of a wider network linking indigenous nations, European traders, farmers, and imperial ambitions. In 1803, Missouri's future changed dramatically when the United States acquired the region through the Louisiana Purchase. Suddenly, this river frontier became central to American expansion. The territory offered fertile land, access to major waterways, and a launching point for journeys farther west. American settlers, many from the upland South, moved into the Missouri Territory in large numbers. They brought farming practices, political expectations, and, in many cases, enslaved labor. Missouri became a place where the promise of expansion collided with the growing national conflict over slavery. Its admission to the Union was not a simple administrative step, it became one of the most important political crises of the early republic. Missouri entered the United States as a slave state through the Missouri Compromise of 1820. This agreement tried to maintain balance between slave and free states by admitting Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, while also restricting slavery in much of the remaining Louisiana Purchase territory north of a certain line. At the time, the compromise was seen as a way to hold the Union together. In hindsight, it revealed how deeply divided the country had become. Missouri's admission showed that westward expansion was not just about land, it was about power, labor, race, and the future direction of the United States. Missouri's role in the American Civil War was especially complicated. It was a slave state, but it did not formally secede from the Union. Its location made it strategically valuable, and its population was deeply divided. The state experienced rival governments, military campaigns, raids, and brutal guerrilla warfare. Neighbor often stood against neighbor, and violence along the Missouri-Kansas border became especially intense. This border conflict had roots in the struggle over whether Kansas would allow slavery, and it continued into the war years. Missouri's Civil War experience reminds us that the conflict was not only fought by large armies on famous battlefields. In border states, it could become personal, local, and devastating. After the Civil War, Missouri's major cities grew into centers of industry, transportation, and business. St. Louis became one of the great cities of the Mississippi River system, with manufacturing, brewing, trade, and immigration shaping its growth. Kansas City developed as a rail hub, stockyard center, and commercial gateway to the Great Plains. These cities were not just local markets, they helped connect Eastern capital, Western settlement, Southern agriculture, and national transportation networks. Their growth also gave Missouri a more urban and industrial identity, even as farming remained important across much of the state. The contrast between rural Missouri and its metropolitan centers continues to define the state's politics, economy, and culture. Missouri's nicknames reveal how people have understood the state. It is called the Gateway to the West because St. Louis and the Missouri River were starting points for westward movement, including trails, river expeditions, and later rail connections. It has also been called the Mother of the West, suggesting that many western journeys began there. The cave state refers to Missouri's thousands of caves, especially in the Ozark region, where limestone landscapes create underground systems. The best-known nickname is the Show Me State. While its exact origin is debated, the phrase suggests a practical, skeptical attitude. Don't just make a claim, prove it. That reputation fits Missouri's grounded, no-nonsense self-image. Culturally, Missouri blends Midwestern and Southern influences in a way few states do. This blend appears in speech, food, religion, politics, music, and everyday identity. St. Louis has historic ties to river commerce, immigration, blues, baseball, and brewing. Kansas City is known for jazz, barbecue, fountains, and a metropolitan area that crosses into Kansas. Springfield and the Ozarks carry strong associations with regional tourism, country culture, and outdoor recreation. Columbia, home to the University of Missouri, adds a major college town identity. Because these regions differ so much, Missouri is hard to reduce to one image. Its culture is layered, urban and rural, northern and southern, traditional and innovative. Missouri has made major contributions to American music. Ragtime, one of the foundations of modern popular music, has deep ties to the state, especially through composers like Scott Joplin, who lived and worked in Missouri. Kansas City jazz developed a distinctive sound in the early 20th century, shaped by nightlife, improvisation, and powerful swing rhythms. St. Louis blues grew from the city's position as a river and migration hub, carrying Southern musical traditions into an urban setting. These genres influenced later jazz, rhythm and blues, rock, and popular music more broadly. Missouri's musical history shows how movement, migration, and city life can transform local sounds. Into national culture. Food and drink are also central to Missouri's identity. Kansas City-style barbecue is famous for slow-smoked meats, thick tomato-based sauce, and a wide variety of cuts, from ribs to burnt ends. St. Louis-style barbecue is less globally famous but still important, especially with pork steaks, ribs, and local grilling traditions. Missouri is also a major beer state. St. Louis is home to Anheuser-Busch, one of the most famous brewing companies in the world, and beer has shaped the city's economy and culture for generations. Missouri also produces wine, especially in the Missouri Rhineland, where German immigrants helped establish vineyards and winemaking traditions along the Missouri River. Today, Missouri's economy is diverse. It includes healthcare, finance, agriculture, manufacturing, retail, technology, education, and transportation. Major companies associated with the state include firms in medical information systems, investment services, electric equipment, auto parts, health insurance, and financial advising. Universities such as the University of Missouri, St. Louis University, and Washington University in St. Louis contribute research, medicine, education, and talent. Tourism also plays a major role. The Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock Lake, and Branson attract visitors for boating, live entertainment, fishing, resorts, and family vacations. These destinations highlight another side of Missouri, not just a crossroads of history, but a place where landscapes and leisure drive modern identity. Missouri's importance comes from its position between worlds. It was indigenous homeland, French and Spanish territory, American frontier, slave state, border battleground, industrial center, music incubator, agricultural landscape, and tourism destination. Its history reflects many of the biggest themes in the United States: migration, expansion, conflict, commerce, cultural blending, and regional identity. The state cannot be understood only through St. Louis, only through Kansas City, only through the Ozarks, or only through farms and small towns. Missouri is all of these at once. That is why the idea of a gateway still fits. Missouri has long been a place people pass through, but it is also a place that helps explain where America has been and where it was going. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.